Hey everyone, welcome back to Trek on the Tube and welcome to a bit of a special video. Something I've never done before, admittedly something I didn't expect to have to do until years from now because I legitimately thought Discovery would be the only new Star Trek show out for years to come. Boy was I wrong about that one. So here we are. This is an update to one of my canon and lore videos, more specifically my timelines video. Alright, so first of all, no, you don't need to go back and watch that original video to understand this one. But keep in mind, this one's existence doesn't invalidate that one's. It was made quite a while back now, and so the timeline technically isn't up to date, but I did share an opinion. It's a very opinionated video. It's separated into two parts. One of those parts is more an opinion piece. I still stand by that. I still think it's a more logical approach to everything, but that's moving on. Without any further ado, let's get into this. The timelines of Star Trek as we know them today. Boom! Would you look at that? Now yes, if you are a huge Trekkie, you might already be wanting to point out mistakes or details that bug you. Please feel free to do so in the comments section below. I take into consideration every point made and list them in my update list because yeah, we update this thing every year. Truthfully though, if you're a super fan, chances are you don't really need this. In fact, it was originally created with the intention of helping new fans get a sense of where their favorite shows take place. Also, let me just point out that the information displayed is a simple quote-unquote copy-paste of the information conveyed on screen, as in what has officially been confirmed. So yeah, those first contact temporal incursion theories, for example, have not been taken into account. And so we begin with the explanations. Trust me, Star Trek seems intimidating right now because there are over 700 episodes to have aired. There's over 10 movies. It's just, this is so much content. All of these shows take place in different timelines and different eras, but trust me, it really isn't that complicated. As it stands in Star Trek, as it's explained by multiple characters on screen, there exists a vast multiverse, a network of sorts made up of parallel universes, intersecting timelines, diverging incursions, and even alternate dimensions. But mapping that multiverse is, as you would imagine, a monumental task and would end up delivering a result that is more confusing than anything else, especially for the new fans. So for the sake of simplicity, this graphic only takes into consideration the three main timelines featured in the franchise. The three timelines that have been settings for entire movies and or episodes. The Prime Timeline, the Mirror Universe, and the Kelvin Timeline. Note that in the fictional world of Star Trek, the words timeline, dimension, universe, and reality all seem to be interchangeable. Even if in real life we would most likely argue all four are indeed quite different, simply put, the franchise has never made any distinction between them. I know it's dumb, Bob, just go with it. Anyway, we begin with the Prime Timeline. This is the flow of time, the reality, the universe, however you want to say it, on which most of the franchise's story and continuity take place. In the in-universe order, we start off with Enterprise, the first prequel show ever to be created. Following that, we get the first two seasons of Discovery, and then Strange New Worlds. That show has yet to be released and has yet to receive an official time frame, but its objective is to explore the adventures of the Enterprise under the command of Captain Pike, which basically confirms it as being right before the Kirk era. Speaking of Kirk, we now move on to the original series, the animated series, and the original series movies. These are the shows and movies that started it all off. They all happen one after the other. Next up is the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and those Next Generation movies. For simplicity's sake, we've put them one after the other on the graphic, but in actuality there's quite a bit of overlap if you look at the dates. Deep Space Nine begins before the Next Generation ends, Voyager picks up before Deep Space Nine ends, and 3 of the 4 movies happen before Voyager comes to a stop. Not to get too intimidating or anything, but in Star Trek there exists something called star dates, and technically speaking, I don't think they make much sense. But Some people out there have compiled very complex lists of each episode by stardate, and so if you wanted to watch Star Trek in its complete chronological order, you would probably have to go by stardate, but that's a bit of a mess. Following this order works absolutely fine. What I find fun, and what I did for my last rewatch, was to watch things in their release order, so that you kind of get that overlap between those seasons of Deep Space Nine and Voyager, or Voyager and the Next Generation movies. It shows you some like character interactions and doesn't spoil too much about what happens to certain characters. For example, if you get to the end of the, if you get to the end of the Next Generation movies before you get to the end of Voyager, things are spoiled. Anyway, moving on. Following the last of the Next Generation movies is Lower Decks. Yes, the new animated show. The fact it's a cartoon, just like with the animated series, doesn't take away from its validity. Both shows are still prime timeline and canon. Moving on, we have Picard, and then to end what we've seen of the prime timeline so far is the third season of Discovery, set way off in the far future. Basically what this means is, if you're new to Star Trek and you want to start watching a show, any show at all, they all take place in the prime timeline. They all follow the same flow of time, and they're all part of the same continuity. Don't let anyone tell you that it's not true, that like new Star Trek is not part of the prime timeline. Don't let anybody tell you that the animated shows aren't part of the prime timeline. That's not true. They all are. It's all prime and it's all canon, even if it displeases some people out there. I'd now like to move on to the Mirror Universe. This alternate reality has just recently been confirmed to have been existing close to the prime timeline in the grand scale of the multiverse for hundreds of years, but from Discovery Season 3's point of view, the Mirror Universe has been slowly dragging away from the prime timeline, and that explains why less and less people have been crossing over from one to the other. Now, starting from the beginning, yet again, we have 2 Enterprise Mirror Universe episodes, 5 Discovery ones, 2 original series ones, and finally 5 Deep Space Nine interactions. Some of these episodes include people crossing over from one universe to the other, some do not. Point is, even if there aren't entire shows or entire movies set in the Mirror Universe, it still plays a big role within the franchise. And I do think the Mirror Universe has earned its right to be on this graphic, considering, how big a part of popular culture it has become. Quick side note, the numbers that I put indicate the amount of interactions that there have been in those shows. So the original series had 5 interactions with the Mirror Universe, etc. But if I'm getting technical, those numbers might not be correct. Mainly because I'm trying to figure some things out with Discovery Season 3 still, and I don't know. I don't even know if those numbers are really necessary. Maybe they just complicate things for nothing. I might end up taking them off. What do you think? Should I leave them there? Should I take them out? I think there should be maybe like another interaction line going from the Mirror Universe Enterprise to the original series. But Prime, that is. I don't know. Anyway, forget about all that. It gets complicated for nothing. The Mirror Universe is an alternate timeline in which basically everything is mirrored, and it's a meme in popular culture today. We now move on to the Kelvin Timeline. This is the reality, the universe in which the 3 most recent Star Trek films take place. Some call them the reboot films, other the JJ-verse films, because they were for the most part directed and produced by J.J. Abrams, but officially they are now known as the Kelvin Timeline films, or the Kelvin Timeline trilogy. I mean, that's what they're putting on the boxes. That's what they're putting on those Blu-ray cases. Ain't that right, Bob? I don't even know why I talk to you. Fuck off. These three films follow the adventures of an alternate version of the original series crew from this parallel universe, this adjacent timeline. If you're interested, as I said earlier, you can go check out my other video because I still think it makes more sense that way, as in the way I explain it there. But as of Discovery Season 3, a character on screen said that the Kelvin Timeline is a temporal incursion created by a Romulan mining ship from the Prime Timeline, meaning the events depicted in those movies, or rather in the movie Star Trek from 2009, are indeed, as it stands, the beginning of the Kelvin Timeline, or rather the creation of it. And who am I to fight what's said on screen, right? What's said on screen is canon. What's said on screen is the law. Oh, shut up, Bob. God damn it. I know this all sounds very, confusing and complicated. It really isn't. There's like an event in Star Trek 09, the movie from 2009, where a character or multiple characters go back in time to a specific point, and that point then creates a divergence, and that becomes the Kelvin Timeline. The movies are set there. The Kelvin Timeline's existence doesn't deny the existence of the Prime Timeline or the Mirror Universe, etc., etc., because, as we stated earlier, Star Trek is a vast multiverse. It's a network of just timelines everywhere. And that's all of it. It's as simple as that. For many of us seasoned Trekkies, I guess this isn't the most informative of videos, but hopefully for you new fans out there, everything now seems a little clearer. Do keep in mind, this thing won't stay up to date indefinitely now that Star Trek has become yet again an active franchise. But hey, I mean, that's good news in my book. If you want to follow me on Twitter, go ahead, because every year, sometime in January, we do an updated version of this timeline, taking into consideration the new shows or the new seasons that have been released. I probably won't do an update video every year unless people really ask for it, but the general point is the same. As last time. I'm just going over every show in order because that's how they exist within the franchise. Alright, as usual, a huge thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. A big, big, big thanks to the channel patrons. You're the best. And I thought Bob was going to say something. He's just sitting there quiet. I apologize, by the way. Bob is the worst. Alright. Live long and prosper.